And then we may do crescendo fasting where we're doing like a 14, 16-hour fast. We're kind of stressing the system in that 16-hour fast, but we're only doing it 2 days a week on non-consecutive days and non-exercise days, non-high intensity exercise days, right, with that individual. Okay. So we might do it Monday and Friday. So non-consecutive days so the body can readapt. We're also really trying to make sure that we're getting enough calories, enough protein during that eating window. That's really, really important. And then we can also do some diet variation based around their menstrual cycle. So for example, for most women, when they first start menstruating, like the first several days of menstruation, it's actually a really good time to do more intermittent fasting. Okay. But as they get closer to ovulation, they actually need a little bit more carbohydrates, right? So as the ovulation is day 14, so roughly day 11 or day 12, we might add in a little bit more carbohydrates. So we might do more root vegetables during that period of time. And then after ovulation, we can go kind of back into a lower carb intermittent fasting cycle. And then the week before menstruation, most women notice that they have a lot more cravings. Okay. And that's actually when we need more insulin. And so that's when, we'll have women eat more carbohydrates, root vegetables. Again, we're avoiding the processed foods for the most part. But we're going with like root vegetables, beets, carrots, sweet potatoes, different things like that during that window to help the body get more free hormones to build up that uterine lining for menstruation. And so that's pretty much a cycle that we'll often do. I have some blogs about it and things like that for that particular fasting cycle. But those two strategies where we'll do like a crescendo fasting 2 days a week, non-consecutive days, where we'll do a little bit more of an intense, kind of more of a stressor fast. And even though that seems like, oh, why would we want to do that? The actual reason is we want to challenge the body to get better at burning fat for fuel. And so when we go a longer period of time without consuming food, our body has to adapt. And so it starts to burn its own body fat for fuel, and it starts to create more mitochondria, and it undergoes something called autophagy, where it breaks down old, damaged cellular organelles, cellular debris, and creates new healthy cellular debris, right? So new healthy cellular organelles. So we're actually recycling the cellular components, creating more stress resilient cells. Okay. The two greatest stimulators for this autophagy process are fasting or calorie restriction in general, as well as exercise, right? Those are the two greatest stimulators of it. So we want to stimulate it, right? But we want to do it in an intelligent mode where we don't overstress the body, right? So that's why we might do it 2 days a week, non-consecutive days, and maybe just 2 to 3 hours more of a fasting window than what they normally do. Okay. And then if somebody with chronic disease or chronic illness, we're going to do what I talked about earlier, right? Where we're doing kind of that 12 to 14-hour overnight fast, eating those meals. And then we might also add in crescendo fasting in there. And there's different ways of graduating it up, right? So we might start 2 days a week, doing this sort of intermittent fast, and then maybe bump it up to 3 days a week if they feel good doing that, like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, something along those lines. And then, we might do 4 days a week, right? So we will experiment based on how their body is responding to it, how they're feeling, right? A lot of people will say, I started intermittent fasting and I just felt like my joints felt better, my brain felt better, and they're doing 2 or 3 days a week. Great. Well, we might try adding in one more day, right? And see how you feel with that and kind of compressing that eating window. Or what we might try to do is just do 2 or 3 days a week of a 16-hour fast, but 1 day a week where we stress it even more and we go to 20 to 24 hours fasting, right? We only eat one meal. Let's say we do a lunch to lunch fast, right? And the reason why we might need to do that is to further enhance that autophagy process, that cellular rejuvenation process, and to burn more fat for fuel to get those ketones up to shut down inflammation even more.